Kenson does slide up into Stewart a little. Tony comes down, trying to pin him down a little bit. That creates contact that gets Kenton sideways.
Yeah, but I thought Tony had to get down a little bit. And we've talked about how just on the exit right there's not a lot of room. The groove's fairly narrow.
Tony not very happy.
Whoa. Gosh, looks familiar. Well, we know what Tony thinks. That's a perfect strike.
That's a nice throw.
You heard Joey Logano talk about the restart. Steve Burns caught up with Stewart after Tony went over to question and do more than that. Actually got a swing in there. Let's see what Steve Burns came up with.
Well, Tony, what angered you at the end of the race? What did you take issue with?
What the hell do you think I was mad about? Dumb little runs us clear down to the infield. He wants to about everybody else, and he's the one that drives like a little. I'm going to bust his ass.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Let's get this right out of the way up front. Tony Stewart is a jerk. He's a self-absorbed, egomaniacal hammerhead who likely upon exiting the womb turned to his mom and said something to the effect of, "What took you so long?" He's overly emotional, often loses his cool at the worst possible times, could be considered by some to be just this side of bovine excrement. We get it. Now let's deal in truth. The type it would seem plenty of people are suddenly bone-cold frightened to say out loud, or would rather focus on hyperbole at a time when family and friends are grieving. Tony Stewart's an athlete. He's a competitor. He has dedicated his life to a passion for his sport and has reached the pinnacle of it because of his incredible talent and emotion. He is one of a select few on this planet who willingly strap themselves into steel bullets and challenge the elements under their tires, and the rabid, emotional, steely-eyed determination of those other men and women doing exactly as they are when the ignition goes on and the wheels spin. These are competitors who understand the reality of what they do is simple. There is a chance, maybe not a great one, but a chance nonetheless, that when they take part in their sport, their career, they may never see their families and friends again. That is the risk they assume. That is what they willingly sign up for, and they know what they face is exactly what those fellow competitors come to grips with as well. And with that, there's a code of understanding and respect. Throw the helmets, throw some punches, race hard just like football players looking to slam their opponents into a temporary la-la land, or baseball pitchers use a good tight fastball to send a message. Like hockey players use a well-placed elbow to leave a good mark, or basketball players take a forearm and use it for more than a place for tattoos. It's the game, and it's understood by every side and every fan as one that's played hard. In other words, Tony Stewart may be a galactic jerk, but he's not a killer. You wouldn't know it with the manner in which certain bottom-feeding members of the sensationalist media reported his accident this weekend past with 20-year-old Kevin Ward Jr. It's the word no one seems to want to use, either because they're too busy seeking hype to get your clicks and views, or because they're too incredibly lacking in brain cell power to do some work and report this as what it was: an accident, a tragic and avoidable accident. We have been bombarded in the last 2 days with the ridiculous hyperbolic headlines where some media have decided this was about a celebrity involved in a death, so let's ride this as hard as we can to get as much max mileage out of it as possible. One of the more popular news websites managed to dredge up every bottom-feeding possibility by leaving zero doubt in clickable headlines that it was, according to them, Tony Stewart that killed a rival driver who taunted him. I won't dignify the website name nor that of so many of the journalistic failures who took great pains to make it seem a purposeful killing with no evidence to support that conclusion instead of an accident. My blood boils more than a little here, as I have been close to the motorsports community and thus speak from experience. Every driver, every member of the pit crew, every sainted old granny who makes coffee and donuts for the guys changing tires knows the rule that is drilled into everybody's head more times than throw out the garbage as a kid. Never get out of your seat while there are cars moving on the track. Unless your car's on fire, you stay in that car until the emergency crews arrive. To do otherwise means you are tempting fate and courting possible serious injury, even death. There can be nothing but prayers and sympathy for the family of Kevin Ward Jr. No one deserves to lose a child. No one deserves to have a life cut off so early. No one deserves to die participating in a sport. My heart goes out to the Ward family and friends. But the hard, cold fact here is simple. Kevin Ward Jr. would be alive today if he stayed in his car, if he didn't look to taunt another driver, if he didn't step into the track and in the path of oncoming cars. What a shame so few media outlets report it with fact, and a greater shame a lemmings-like public laps it up and becomes judge and jury without asking the questions. And that is telling it like it is. Next hour in MidPoint, In God We Trust is more than just a motto to some. To others, it should be much less. We'll do that and a whole lot more when MidPoint continues right here.
When